The dog game is dying. The dog game is dying. Let's talk about the game first, not the dogs. It's the challenge of the wins, the competitive addiction, the thrill of the win, and the rewards of achievements. Losing only gives you the drive to come back. I learned to watch the winners, my motivation was there, my dedication was evident, now I'm a winner. The problem is the cheating to win, manipulating the truth, and then it's the all outliers. How is this sharing our achievements with liars, cheaters, and bullshitters? We have lost the historical value of the dog game. We can't decipher the real from the fake, the lost is the cost. So I salute these dogs of going hard kennels for all that you've given me in the game.
Let's talk about pit bulls. The history, the breeding, the maintaining and feeding, and the controversies surrounding the great hunts. Come interact with the legends, and ask questions, and listen to their stories as we talk about kennels and dogs of the past and present. Hosted by one of the game's most respected kennels, with over 40 years in the hunt, going hard kennels Twin 1 and Twin 2, dogs like Champion the Debrat, the very first champion off Grand Champion Mayday, the Dog of the Year, and Register of Merit. Champion Pretty Mama, 2-time Best in Show and 2-time Gamest in Show. Going Hard's Bay Bay, Register of Merit, Damn to Champion What a Day, Champion Gus, Champion Elrod, Champion Yellowbird. So pull up a seat, and let's talk dogs.
The dog game is dying. Let's talk about the game first, not the dogs. It's the challenge of the wins, the competitive addiction, the thrill of the win, and the rewards of achievements. Losing only gives you the drive to come back. I learned to watch the winners, my motivation was there, my dedication was evident, now I'm a winner. The problem is the cheating to win, manipulating the truth, and then it's the all-out liars. How is this sharing our achievements with liars, cheaters, and bullshitters? We have lost the historical value of the dog game. We can't decipher the real from the fake, the lost is the cost. So I salute these dogs of going hard kennels for all that you've given me in the game.
Let's talk about pit bulls. The history, the breeding, the maintaining and feeding, and the controversies surrounding the great hunts. Come interact with the legends, and ask questions, and listen to their stories as we talk about kennels and dogs of the past and present. Hosted by one of the game's most respected kennels, with over 40 years in the hunt, going hard kennels Twin 1 and Twin 2, dogs like Champion the Debrat, the very first champion off Grand Champion May Day, the Dog of the Year, and Register of Merit. Champion Pretty Mama, 2-time Best in Show and 2-time Gamest in Show. Going Hard's Bay Bay, Register of Merit, Damn to Champion What a Day, Champion Gus, Champion Elrod, Champion Yellowbird. So pull up a seat, and let's talk dogs.
The dog game is dying. Let's talk about the game first, not the dogs. It's the challenge of the wins, the competitive addiction, the thrill of the win, and the rewards of achievements. Losing only gives you the drive to come back. I learned to watch the winners, my motivation was there, my dedication was evident, now I'm a winner. The problem is the cheating to win, manipulating the truth, and then it's the all-out liars. How is this sharing our achievements with liars, cheaters, and bullshitters? We have lost the historical value of the dog game. We can't decipher the real from the fake, the lost is the cost. So I salute these dogs of going hard kennels for all that you've given me in the game.
Let's talk about pit bulls. The history, the breeding, the maintaining and feeding, and the controversies surrounding the great hunts. Come interact with the legends, and ask questions, and listen to their stories as we talk about kennels and dogs of the past and present. Hosted by one of the game's most respected kennels, with over 40 years in the hunt, going hard kennels Twin 1 and Twin 2, dogs like Champion the Debrat, the very first champion off Grand Champion May Day, the Dog of the Year, and Register of Merit. Champion Pretty Mama, 2-time Best in Show and 2-time Gamest in Show. Going Hard's Bay Bay, Register of Merit, Damn to Champion What a Day, Champion Gus, Champion Elrod, Champion Yellowbird. So pull up a seat, and let's talk dogs.
The dog game is dying. Let's talk about the game first, not the dogs. It's the challenge of the wins, the competitive addiction, the thrill of the win, and the rewards of achievements. Losing only gives you the drive to come back. I learned to watch the winners, my motivation was there, my dedication was evident, now I'm a winner. The problem is the cheating to win, manipulating the truth, and then it's the all-out liars. How is this sharing our achievements with liars, cheaters, and bullshitters? We have lost the historical value of the dog game. We can't decipher the real from the fake, the lost is the cost. So I salute these dogs of going hard kennels for all that you've given me in the game.
Let's talk about pit bulls. The history, the breeding, the maintaining and feeding, and the controversies surrounding the great hunts. Come interact with the legends, and ask questions, and listen to their stories as we talk about kennels and dogs of the past and present. Hosted by one of the game's most respected kennels, with over 40 years in the hunt, going hard kennels Twin 1 and Twin 2, dogs like Champion the Debrat, the very first champion off Grand Champion May Day, the Dog of the Year, and Register of Merit. Champion Pretty Mama, 2-time Best in Show and 2-time Gamest in Show. Going Hard's Bay Bay, Register of Merit, Damn to Champion What a Day, Champion Gus, Champion Elrod, Champion Yellowbird. So pull up a seat, and let's talk dogs.
The dog game is dying. Let's talk about the game first, not the dogs. It's the challenge of the wins, the competitive addiction, the thrill of the win, and the rewards of achievements. Losing only gives you the drive to come back. I learned to watch the winners, my motivation was there, my dedication was evident, now I'm a winner. The problem is the cheating to win, manipulating the truth, and then it's the all outliers. How is this sharing our achievements with liars, cheaters, and bullshitters? We have lost the historical value of the dog game. We can't decipher the real from the fake, the lost is the cost. So I salute these dogs of going hard kennels for all that you've given me in the game.
Let's talk about pit bulls. The history, the breeding, the maintaining and feeding, and the controversies surrounding the great hunts. Come interact with the legends, and ask questions, and listen to their stories as we talk about kennels and dogs of the past and present. Hosted by one of the game's most respected kennels, with over 40 years in the hunt, going hard kennels Twin 1 and Twin 2, dogs like Champion the Debrat, the very first champion off-brand champion May Day, the dog of the year, and Register of Merit. Champion Pretty Mama, 2-time Best in Show and 2-time Gamest in Show. Going Hard's Bay Bay, Register of Merit, Damn to Champion What a Day, Champion Gus, Champion Elrod, Champion Yellowbird. So pull up a seat, and let's talk dogs.
What up? What up? It's Hot Mike Friday. What up, fellas? Get my shout outs out the way right quick. Y'all know what time it is. Big shout out to Shark Tank. Big shout out to all the people out there on the back street. Y'all know what time it is. Like I said, it's Hot Mike Friday. Big shout out to my main man. Long time supporter, one and only Mr. David Morris. What up, fam? Yo, everybody's here. Stand by, sell it. I think I'm put that out. What up, fam? My man, right down to stick that right button. Double and Despo in the house. What up, fam? Yo, my man. Gang Dog University. What up, fam? Another long time supporter, the one and only Combo. Mr. Dicky Busters in the house. What up, man? Let's see who else I got here. Yo, represent my man. 6143 in the house. What up, bam? What about them Buckeyes? What about them goddamn Buckeyes? Don't say it too loud, twin. Don't say it too loud. Vulgar display of power house. What up? Bam! Yo, my man. Mr. Corey Jones in the house. What up, man? Let's see what else I got here. Yo, my man's in them. Carlos Lee in the house. What up, fam? Robert Matt. What up, bam? Big shout out to my man, Mr. Jason Clark in the house. What up, fam? Hey, appreciate everybody that's showing out. As y'all know, we mourn the death of another one. A legendary dog, man. I'm glad we did get a chance to speak about this on Tuesday. You know, my man Floyd, but R.I.P. for another legendary man. Again, his name, as long as we talk Bulldogs, his name will live on for decades. You know, I mean, we talk about it. We just got off my man, Mr. Ronnie Boyles. You know, you seen Tuesday's show. We talked a lot about Floyd. Because, for us, back in our time period, for us, and even in your time period, they have put in so much work and had so much to do with the success of some of the great dogs of all time, that their names will live on forever. One thing that I appreciate the fact that everybody, to show that love before them men, that's the face of this earth. I like to just see Floyd get around and seeing all the guys who got those pictures in. Lucky enough to have those pictures, and 20, 30 years from now, you're going to have one of them pictures that you standing there with one of the greatest dog men of all time and be able to talk about your experience. I've always thought that was, just having them conversations with some of the old school dudes, even for us, and we old school, you forget. And think about some of the good times that we had with those men and some of the conversations, and it's something that you hold close to you. That's why I'm a true believer. Don't wait till they show your appreciation, because sooner or later, your time going to be right where their time live off at. Same thing for us. Where we leave off at, that's where we're going to be at. It's going to be at future to take care of the rest. And they just had a big implant with these dogs. Say somebody's telling me there's an echo on the mic. Is your mic off? No, it's not. Hold on. I got you. Hey, about that echo should be gone by now. I think it was catching up the other mic over there. Yeah. Sorry about that, fellas. What up? Delvis Hayes, what up, fam? Ain't nothing old school. Yo, K-Walk, appreciate that. I see you, fam. Happy 360, what up, bam? Let's see what else I got here. Hey, y'all still get, I'm pretty sure I'm thinking I took care of that echo, right? Should be gone. We in the same studio. I try to cut that down. But I think I got it. I don't see him over there jumping no more. Let me see where I'm at here. Let's have it. Cannabis Cowboy, what up, though? Yo, salute Game Dog community, love the intro. Salute to the Game Dog brothers here and resting. Appreciate the love, fam. I had somebody else say something here. Big shout out to Corey. He said, I like when Twin was saying somebody ain't got no business where they bulldogging at. Corey, tell him, man, it's self-explanatory. It should be self-explanatory. You know damn well you ain't got no business up in here or over there. Hey, but we're going to get on another subject tonight. Another one of them great dog, man, we very seldomly, I get more to talk about. But it was something I heard today, and, we've been around these yellow dogs for a long time. Long time. But I'm going to just let Mo take you back there because, all of us ain't really dead yet. Some of us who were around with some of these older men and dealing with some of these dogs, even dealing with some of these journals, when I remember back in the day when Fletcher Chavis was advertising them Jocko dogs just as much as, before Tamp was, I really believe, because I think Champion Yellow, he was, first time I seen him, he was actually being advertised by Fletcher Chavis. He was actually Chavis yellow dog. Well, pull the thing on there. Let's say Chavis yellow dog. That's what Chavis had. You know what I'm saying? But hey man, so we're gonna definitely get off into that because once Mo gets started, he'd be off into trying to get everything where y'all can understand it, because it's basically, I ain't gonna say it's something this was something, because he never really talked about this, but based on me and him was sitting there listening to one of the shows today, and something came up and Mo said, that's not right, and so I feel it was a good time to speak on it. About Chavis and yellow. Because they said you ain't gonna find Chavis' name nowhere on yellow. That's the part I caught. But you see, my man, get this out the way right quick here. My man, Cannabis Cowboy said, much respect to the American Pit Bull Terrier owners of the past and the ones that here. Long live the American Pit Bull Terrier dog man. Dogs are truly man's best friends. Big shout out to you, Cannabis Cowboy. Look, dogs have been man's best friend because he has always been able to serve a purpose and serve it well. And you got the right ones that they serve with commitment, And I think that's why dogs are man's best friends. Let me see here. My man Corey Jones said it was the 500,000 dogs show right at the 2-hour-30 mark. Let me check, twin. I'll be right back. You know what I'm saying, then, Corey? Yeah, you caught it too. Yeah. But, actually having Amber, and I think that's where I kind of set it up for Mo to take it from there, because there's a whole lot that was actually going on back there in the day. And you got to remember, I'm dealing with the mad scientists. I'm dealing with Pope. I'm dealing with KP, and I'm dealing with Mo. So think of, get a good insight. I'm just giving you pre-game warm-up just to give you an idea, prepare yourselves, because it'll be at that point where they were on a different plan. But keep it in mind about the people we're talking about: Mo, KP, and James Pope. And keep in mind, James Pope, even though he was from Ohio, he dealt with a whole lot of them Eli dogs. Remember, that's how we got Ratchet. That's how he was dealing with Rascal and Bosco. He had Shirley. A lot of things. But this man knew pedigrees. He knew pedigrees. And I think back in the day when we had Amber's papers, I think we had like the big sheet. That was I think the 16 generation pedigree. Yeah, 16 generation pedigree. So that was one of the things that I laugh about, because I remember them breaking out that big long ass pedigree and hours and hours of them going back and forth. And then you'll see why. Remember, we're still dealing with Eli Man and Pope. Pope always got a different way of trying to do shit. But it's funny to see as time went on how the things that he was saying actually changed the game. Because remember now, Pope was the breeder of Shirley. You already know who she is. So if you don't, I'm pretty sure I'm all fill you in. But he had Shirley, put it like that. He did a breeding with her too, didn't he? Yeah, Dusty was off of Shirley. Right. We had a dog off of Shirley. A couple of them. Crybaby. Wasn't she out of that shit too? Yeah. There was some rough ass dogs too. Yo, big shout out to my man, Quick FC. I see you, fam. Yo, Vernon Star. What up, fam? My man Vernon said Chavis didn't register his dogs. David Tant got them all registered with the ADBA after Carl and Tant bought Yellow. Tant had the monetary means that Chavis didn't. Mr. Cruz and Tant told the same story. Well,
Grave Lester did Albert.
Yeah. You're right about that, Vernon, but you're gonna see something on the gonna shake you up on that too, Vernon. It's gonna blow your head wide. You're gonna be like, damn, twin. Yeah, bro. Yeah. But hey, appreciate everybody for coming in. I'm gonna get ready to turn this over to Mo right quick. Hey, y'all, don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to hit that like button. I can do this one right quick. Vernon said, regardless of what people think, before the bag got Tant, he was a good breeder and a dog man. That's true. I mean, if you back in the day, and Vernon, you're down the way, so you already know back in the day, it wasn't nothing. And if you could look in the journal, shit, we wasn't really dealing with crazy prices and people doing crazy shit to try to sell dogs. Remember, we was around when the change started happening. But prior to the change, when I say the change, that's when, the prices start getting out of hand on everything. The big fallout. You know what I'm saying? When money came into play, brothers probably was running around kind of like they say Fletcher Chavis was, until brothers start showing up with that money. And once they start showing up with that money, they start getting them dogs and the cost. You got to pay the cost to be the boss, and they didn't have no problem giving you that good shit. And it was just a matter of what we did. And you got to understand, look at some of the dogs that we got our hands on early back in the late 80s coming into the 90s. So let me see. I get everybody. Big shout out to my man, Union County Kennels. What up, fam? Yo, Mr. Eric Lacey. What up, fam? Okay, you ready, Mo? You want to? You can start. You can start with Amber. Okay. Yeah, I'll try. Cool. Yeah. What up, y'all? Can y'all hear me, man?
Let me check my mic, make sure I can get that music out of me. Can y'all hear me? All right. What's up? What's up, everybody? Y'all don't forget about that North Carolina Fayetteville show tomorrow. That FPDR show down in Fayetteville. I heard they're gonna have one of the DSK guys down there. I know Rosterman said he was going. I know Tony Wade said he was gonna be there. I did let everybody know why I couldn't make it. It's gonna be too cold for me because I got a boot on. My feet, my socks will be exposed. There's no way I can going to keep my feet warm. And it might be a little rainy, so doctor told us it'd be wise for me not to go. So I wish everybody luck. Everybody stay safe. If you're down in that Carolina area, y'all bring them dogs. There's gonna be a couple dogs there. Take them pictures so I can put them out there. Okay. Hold on, guys. Let me. Okay. So I'm gonna start here.
Yeah. Go to the studio. Share. No. Yep. Share that. Yep.
I don't know how to do this here now. Hey, do P night. You ready to run? Hey, what's up, everybody? All right, here we go. All right, reason why we're starting off with this one because, you know, like Mike said, we listened to a show, and they was talking a lot about you know, the Yellow John and Yellow and Fletcher Chavis and David Tant. David Tant bought a lot of Fletcher Chavis dogs. You know what I'm saying? He bought a lot of them. So you gotta remember, a lot of these dogs, you know, when he bought them, like, you know, I know he put Sassy Girl. I mean, no, Sassy, Yellow's Little May's sister on Maud at the time. Her name was Chavis Maud. Okay. And he liked them. He liked both the bitches and ended up actually buying both the dogs from Fletcher Chavis. Okay. Another person who was also real good friends with Fletcher Chavis was Greg Lester, Bluegrass Kennels. Now, when we had got Amber's papers, when we first got Amber's papers read Chavis's Yellow on Amber's papers back then. ADBA. So when we look at Amber's pedigree, as you see it, you see that Tant's Yellow there, but you see all the rest of these dogs. I mean, remember, Fletcher Chavis owned Jocko, and he also owned Miss Jocko. Okay, Miss Jocko, you know, he bought as well. Because if you look, you see who the breeder is. And like I said, this bitch was not a cold bitch. When her daughter, Champion Sassy, and they both did good, that he bought them both. Okay? So can y'all hear me? Am I clear? So that was one thing I wanted to show and clear up on that. As far as Fletcher Chavis, he had the dogs. And Greg Lester had a lot of those dogs too. Like I said, he had Wrangler, you know, and he had Eli dogs. To me, these were the guys in the beginning when they started crossing. Now, they talk about the tab breeding, how they took the red boy stuff and bred into the Eli stuff. Well, they was doing that shit back in the day. They was testing them dogs back in the day, crossing with them Eli dogs, trying to put some gameness into those dogs. You're going to see a couple yellow dogs and red boy dogs back then being crossed with Eli dogs, Boudreaux dogs, Bully Son dogs, Clayton Eli dogs. Okay? They was making them crosses even back then. They were trying to put some bottom. They were really trying to add some bottom, some true gameness to the Eli dogs. Now, remember what the story was. If you pay attention and remember when I talked about Ronnie Boyles and the Eli dogs that were in the Ronnie Boyles dogs, you know what I'm saying? When I spoke on, losses, because all dogs got losses. You know what I'm saying? All dogs have losses. But all of them, they still were producers. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you take a good look at Jocko, right? He came from a nice cross. You know what I'm saying? He has some nice dogs in him. I just wondered if anybody ever caught that part right there. Did anybody ever notice the Stabbers stuff being crossed back into the Zebo? Zebo's daddy? They was playing around with that back then. Trying to find a place. That's why Lady Sassy Mead ends up over there in this Fletcher Chavis stuff. Remember, this dog right here followed his way all the way back into the Carver stuff. Now remember, when we say Carver, you got to damn near say Maurice Carver's name and down there every one of these great bred dogs. There was some shaking and baking, but between Maurice Carver, I would say Earl Tudor, Maurice Carver, Floyd Boudreaux, you know what I'm saying? Bert Klaus, they did a lot of moves with these dogs. And if you're paying attention on how they was breeding, and keep in mind now, was back then, how was they keeping up with this shit? Was everybody doing the ADBA? And then if they were doing ADBA, do you see how these breedings are being made? Okay? Do y'all see how these breedings are being made? We're still talking about Mitzi Jane being bred to Lonzo's Andy. Just think about it. Why was he taking Bert Klaus's stuff, crossing it over here to Andy? Why? Because Andy was throwing some dogs. Why you think they added where's she at? I'll get there in just a second here. I'm trying to find her here. Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. Let me find her. I get her. I'm looking for her. I gotta go back. Yeah, we'll get her. Because you can't do duty. Yeah. Okay, I want y'all to see this move here. You see how Jocko was bred right here? Remember I told you how they reached in there and made. See how they took Andy and crossed him into the red boy stuff? That's that Zebo stuff. What you think they was? Why do you think they was doing that? Okay. And as you can tell, see this right here? Satan, Abby, and Katie, both dogs coming off of Satan. But look how they was doing it. Well, they grabbed some stab and stuff here. Now, keep in mind, where I'm going with this is, these are the guys doing this. Gable, you notice what he missing up here, he don't have what he got down here. So we're looking at what he did. What he do? He went and got some of that Bert Klaus stuff, crossed off of Andy, and crossed it into this stuff up here. Oh, Fan Cable. Remember, Fan Cable was the one that lost the red boy. Yeah, this dog right here, he's the one that lost the red boy. Now, being a smart man, because he the one made the breed. You see that? Heavy Bert Klaus being crossed right here with Duke. Diabo crossed into the Klaus stuff. These are what I call, it's nowhere in the world, these guys are just taking, not knowing what they're doing. They doing this with some type of way of keeping up with their pedigrees. Because they were putting them together. They were sure putting them together without any type of writing or anything where you can sit down there and literally tap this shit down where you can sit there and understand that there is definitely a formula here. Now, do you think they were just really taking the shit off the top of their head? No, there was some shit that they was putting together, but I can guarantee you it played a big part of just knowing the dog and knowing the right people to go to. You know, when we look at this pedigree, when we look at it as it is right now, yeah, I can go in there and dive in. I always talked about Zebo. You always hear me talk about Stabber. And I'm talking about these dogs way further ahead to show y'all that, you know, what was going on back then, set up everything that was coming forward. Everything that was coming forward was being checked way back then in different lines. Different lines. You know, remember, I can pull up Pretty Mama, and she's a red boy dog, but she double bred Zebo. Inbred red boy, but they double bred it with Zebo. Okay, who came up with the ideal? Somebody started that ideal because they were tabbing red boy with a lot of other shit. You know? They look, like I said, down here, they were tabbing red boy for a reason. Very reasons that, you know, as we go and start looking at this thing as it start coming together, you know, it was heavy on that. It just didn't happen with Jocko. You know, you gotta remember the Zebo stuff, huh? I'm not talking about the particular dog. That's yellow. Yeah. I'm still down here pointing this stuff out. They're pointing. Oh, okay. That's the point Mike was trying to make when he said yellow dog. Yeah, it was Chavis yellow dog on Amber's papers. It didn't have 10th Grand Champion yellow, it didn't have 10th yellow. It had Chavis yellow dog. But that is the Chavis dog. Okay. Now, why was he doing it? Now we're talking about Fletcher Chavis. Why did he go dabbing into them red boy dogs? Why did Lester Hughes start dabbing into them red boy dogs? And then Lester Hughes, he turned around and did the same thing when it come down to him crossing the red boy dogs into the Eli dogs. He even did it. He took and he had Lester's shine, and then when he crossed it into some red boy dogs, he got some bad dogs. So Fletcher Chavis had a lot to do, but his key piece was when he started crossing with something that was already being worked on many levels. By this time, Norm had Whistler. When Yellow John came out, Whistler was out there too. Whistler was matched 6 times, picked up 3 times and won 3 times. And he was straight red boy. They all up in Michigan going after them rough ass boys dogs, you know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna go into that too to show you how the transformation began, because they was already noticing. I think it might have been a big thing when Red Boy beat Fang, because Fang was supposed to have been a bad motherfucker. And Red Boy, he put a chill on that shit, and this is what we were seeing with the yellow dog, the red boy dogs, not this yellow John, Yellow John had some, was putting out some good dogs. Red boy was putting out plenty of good dogs because the way they was crossing them, guys was getting their hands on them. Fletcher Chavis is one of them guys. Fletcher Chavis is definitely one of those guys. Now, everybody always get mad when I talk about the factor. In fact, I cannot ever hate on Jocko because you take Jocko out of the red boy line, we wouldn't have yellow. That's just a fact. I mean, once it's there, it's going to always be that. I be pointing out factors. Factors. When I say factors, there's certain things that I'm looking at as a breeder. Okay? Registered merit traits, match dog traits. Because this is, as a breeder, why are you taking your bitch to the particular dog to make these particular breedings? It had to be something Fletcher Chavis liked to take that Jocko stuff that was rough. Maybe he made that decision. As you start going down the line with Argo, you know what I'm saying? When who was it? Apple lost that same night. Her and her daughter lost to Molly B and Champion Red Lady, Molly B's daughter. These are things you do when you look at it and you look at them. What do you think they was thinking about? You know what I'm saying? So that red boy stuff had to be something really impressive for guys to start injecting this stuff into y'all. And if you notice, the only ones that I'm seeing doing it is the guys that's matching dogs. I ain't seen a breeder yet, because Fletcher Chavis matched dogs. Fletcher Chavis matched dogs. Now, I don't remember too many Red Boy, Katie Marlowe matching too many Red Boy dogs. She wasn't running no line of these dogs, but I can tell you about the guys who was getting their hands on those Red Boy dogs who was matching them, and Fletcher Chavis was one of them. When he crossed that Jocko stuff, you best believe he crossed it for a reason. He crossed it to help, because the one thing that he had in his favor down in that Jocko side was Andy. Andy was a key factor in nigger. Can't take away the nigger dog, because the nigger dog will register and marry. You can't take that away from him. But when you start adding them losses up, they weren't losing because they were curs. They was losing through the type of dogs that were beating them. If you go and start looking down through who beat who in some of these losses, like you got Fang sitting over there 2-time winner, 1-time loser. Well, that 1-time loser he was losing the Red Boy. But they have winners. Jocko was a bad dog. Don't forget, Lady Sassy Me, you know what I'm saying? She was a damn Zebo dog. The Andy stuff. The Andy stuff in itself. Now, these are dogs that we know ended up being Zebo, Rosie, Vindicator. Remember Vindicator, he went over there and went into Snooty. You notice there's accumulation and a comment between all them, because remember Atlas Brewer ended up with Rosie. Atlas Brewer ended up with Rosie. Atlas Brewer ended up with Vindicator. You know what I'm saying? But this is where Zebo started falling in at. Zebo was being crossed into Kingfish. The Andy stuff. The old Ozzy stuff was being crossed. Don't forget Andy had a lot to do with the home stuff. All these dogs, there's key dogs in each one of these pedigrees. If you really take a closer look, I'm talking about going back, look into the great dogs we be talking about. Yellow, we just picking on Yellow right now. But I could have been picking on Yellow John. Remember, Yellow is just one of the dogs in Amber. When you look at Amber, I wouldn't call her Yellow Dog. I would call her Yellow John Dog. Okay? What we call back then Red Boy. So when you look at Fletcher Chavis, keep in mind, y'all, Fletcher Chavis matched dogs. And the things that the breedings that he was making, just like Mr. Green, you can't forget Mr. Green. Mr. Green, he was matching dogs too. Where was he getting them from? A guy who was matching dogs. You know what I'm saying? Mr. Green, he wouldn't be none of that without Fletcher Chavis, because Mr. Green definitely made it clear that if he was going to match some dogs, he felt like he had the right place to get some dogs, because he definitely went to a person who was already matching dogs. And at that time, he was probably stuck on Jocko, because Fletcher Chavis had Jocko. Jocko was a rough dog. But we still talking about them Andy dogs. Them Andy dogs were very rough dogs. Zebo wasn't just the only one. Yeah, Zebo got the famous name, but you're going to find that, the Zebo dogs, when they was crossing the dogs, they was grabbing in rough dogs trying to put, they were trying to put bottom in some of these killers. And then they were trying to put killers in some of these game-ass dogs. And the only way they was sorting all the shit out, they was matching them. That's the only way this shit was coming to, coming to the surface. It was the fact that they was matching these dogs to see how it worked. Okay, that's the only way. So when you look at these pedigrees, and I'm looking at this right here and going, I told y'all about Greg Lester. Okay, and I said, look, he took his yellow shit and he was crossing these dogs. I'll show you some of these offsprings. There's one of them offspring. See this? Now, why do you think? Now, Lester and Bluegrass Kennel is the same people. Greg Lester is Bluegrass Kennels. Now, if you look at the Louisiana Combine dudes, you'll see that they carry a lot of these dogs here, especially Kentucky Shine. That's the G stuff. So even back then, they was taking yellow red boy and making red boy G crosses. Back then, before Tab came along. And we can't forget the Zebo in there. You can't forget the Faye Andy in this stuff. So now we got Jeep, Red Boy, right? And Zebo. Well, let's not say Zebo. Let's go Andy. We're going to go with Andy because Andy was the daddy to Zebo. There's a double up. These dogs are doubled up Andy in these yellow down dogs and these red boy dogs. So even back then they was doing it. And yeah, them dogs, Bubba and them, and to me, they would just, when they put Jeep to this shit, it just made game dogs. They would just gamer dogs. You want to know the truth? Gamer dogs. Say Louisiana Combine, them, they had, I think, let me see, these boys right here, Arkansas, Louisiana guys, they had a dog named Cool Buck. They had one named Cool Buck. That was a real nice dog. Champion Cool Buck. Let's see if I can put him up right quick. That's what his name was. I think it was Cool Buck. What happened? I didn't get it. Okay, that one, there you go, right there. Greatest champion Cool Buck. Who is the breeder? Okay, hold on, guys. My fault. This is champion Cool Buck. Coming down off Kentucky Shine. This is what the Louisiana Combine, when they got their shit, they made some good breedings too. But even then, remember, Greg Lester is still the guy that had Bluegrass Kennels. Now we see him got red boy dogs. We see him crossing the red boy dogs into the Jeep dogs. And then he was also crossing them, you know what I'm saying, into the Jocko dogs. Fletcher Chavis was looking for that. It was Greg Lester who was looking for that kick, but so was Fletcher Chavis, or he wouldn't have never crossed that stuff back into the Jocko stuff. But that's what they were trying to do. They were still making Eli crosses back then in the red boy dog before Tab and them came along. And they was doing it back here with the Rasco stuff. More Eli stuff. See that? And again, who you see there? You see it? This other names. Like we can go down there and look at the Klaus Zeke stuff. Where do we find these names at? If you notice in all these great dogs, there's just certain dogs that just keep showing up back there. Now, people say these dogs way back here, by the time they get way up here, all that shit's gone. Well, just imagine with all these dogs that we got up here that we can go back in some of these great dogs we talk about in my time, and we'll go back there and we'll still find some of these same dogs back there. We know we're going to find them back there.
Right there. Again.
You know, there's a certain things that was going on, certain kennels. If you notice, Duke, long Duke. What Mr. Long was doing with this stuff here, he had a niche and he was going to use it. And evidently James Garrett liked it too. Remember, Pope had this stuff. Pope had this stuff here. Go back and look at Shirley. And these are these crosses, and because Pope was hanging around with them guys, you know what I'm saying? And he was really, like I said, he was deep in them pedigrees back then. So he knew a lot, and he knew he could get in there and get to talking to these guys, and these guys would sit there and explain to him why they made the breedings that they was making. You know, remember when I first came on and started doing this show, and I brought up the Zebo story because I was listening to the fable. Everybody was talking about Zebo, wasn't no producer. Zebo didn't produce shit. Well, I can tell you what, if you want to talk about Zebo, you know, we wouldn't be talking about Vindicator. We wouldn't be talking about Rosie. Don't be for Zebo. But they crossed Zebo with all kind of shit. And that Andy stuff never let these crosses down. Grand Champion Ace, they took Zebo bred to Tommy Spider. Don't be for that cross right there. Tommy Spider, Zebo cross. Crossed into Charlie, we go. Back into the G stuff again. The Eli stuff. The Boudreaux stuff. You know, you go back and you look inside the Boyles dog. What you gonna find? The Boudreaux stuff. You know, these dogs were very rough dogs even back then. They were producing great dogs. But if you look about the guys, look at the guys like Hardcore that started taking the yellow dogs, doing something that was already been done. Has already been done. He took it and ran with it. That's why he had Hardcore's Chance on the yard and Red Boy dog. Yellow. Had a couple dogs off of Yellow on the yard. You know, he had Felony in them. You know what I'm saying? Cross with the Rascal, still more Boudreaux shit. We can say that about the Bulls dogs. We got Patrick crossing in the Boudreaux dogs. Remember, Bulls dogs are, you will find Boudreaux dogs. They make it up. Back Patrick crossing them in. What were they looking for? They was taking dogs that were rough, trying to put gameness into them. And you can see the end results based on people say you can have all this back here in the fourth generation, but by the time you get up there to maybe let's put this in as the eighth generation. And then by the time we get way up to the front, we got this great dog up here. You know what I'm saying? It's supposed to be washed out. Everything going back from the fourth back to the eighth supposed to be washed out. But when we go back in that pedigree and take a look at this great dog up here, where we end up going, we go back 8 generations and see why that shit was being built 8 generations ago. And there's no way in the hell you're going to tell me that them 8 generations ago, to create this badass dog. That shit way back there in that 8th and what they did, always going back up to that 4th, did not play a big part in them next 4 generations of dogs. Mike got a question out there?
I mean, I know I'm. Yes, my God. Hey, Mo, Johnny Rocket. What up, Johnny? He said, add Mo, does Jocko carry Hank's back end style?
Yeah.
Let me cut your mic.
Yeah. Jocko was a back end dog. Jocko was a back end dog. You know, he was a pretty rough back end dog.
He carried that back.
You know what I'm saying? Amber and them was back end dogs. Amber was a back end dog. But so was Grand Champion Ace. That's why we have generations in our going hard dogs. We have generations. Trying to get back where I was. We had generations of back end dogs in here. You know, Jocko, to me, added the back end. Zebra wasn't no joke his damn self. So we know the Vindicator wasn't no joke. You know, there was a reason why they put the Red Boy stuff in there with Rosie. You know, evidently he made a smart ass move for Mr. Chavis. Remember, he matches dogs. He matches dogs. Look at that pedigree. He took that Andy stuff and crossed it into that Red Boy stuff. And look at Lady Sassy Me.
See, Drew is moving down there too.
Yeah, that's Rosie. Yeah, Zebo's sister. Yeah, Atlas had her and involved Vindicator after losing to him. You see what I'm saying? They was the ones. Fletcher Chavis knew what he was doing. He knew what he was doing. You know, he made that move probably after, you know, the Jocko stuff started taking them L's. Don't forget you got Argo lost, Apple lost, you know, and if you look at it, like I say, with the Eli dogs, where, you know, you think it's hating, shit. Look at this Eli, the Red Boy dogs. It's not like they can't win. They got losers too. They all lose. But as you can tell, these dogs are back there in generations of pedigrees of great dogs. Sometimes you just want to know how they lost, right? But look what they was doing. Look at the crosses that they was making. There's no way in the world, and this is coming down off of, you know, our pedigree. They're sitting in there with all that Red Boy, like hardcore. And I mean, I can keep going on and on. All the people who was doing that shit, it was working. Just like when everybody started putting the yellow on top of the Bolio stuff, it was working long before they started doing it. What they did is they started taking the inbreed shit and line breeding it, turning it into line bred dogs. You know, I'm talking about reaching back 4 and 5, 6 generations, bringing that shit in there, connecting it, making it line crosses. Line crosses. Anytime you keep pulling up, finding Fitzwater's Goldie into these dogs, go looking up and you find Klaus in these dogs. We're talking about guys that was crossing in the dogs that were being matched. Match dogs. They wasn't just picking out a pedigree. They were looking at the dogs that was probably working, that they saw out there working and taking these shots like that. There was a reason why Fletcher Chavis wanted to add Jocko to his Red Boy shit. You had it all on the yard, but you gotta remember the Andy stuff. They wasn't line breeding the hell out of Andy from a bunch of goddamn curs, because there wasn't no champions nowhere in that shit. But it had to be impressing enough for a man who matched his dogs to cross it into his shit. We ain't talking about Fletcher Chavis, the breeder, because Fletcher Chavis was a dog man. He bred his shit to do his shit. And the people who was getting their hands on this shit, like David Tant, who was able to take yellow and create more great dogs, you know, Fletcher Chavis already had his hands full of great dogs. As the Havana boys. Anybody who was matching dogs would be wise to be down there around Fletcher Chavis' yard. Ask Mr. Green. And we ain't looking at him. He wasn't Floyd Boudreaux. Floyd, he matched dogs too. But they wasn't matching dogs like old Mr. Chavis here, though. Mr. Chavis was like a little hard dude to beat, and the guys who was getting his shit was winning too. So to me, they was taking the best of the fighting lines of dogs that these guys being in the game. You know they in the basement. These is not upstairs Facebook, you know, advertising breedings that we looking at. We're not looking at that. We're literally looking at dog men who match dogs doing this stuff. You know? Remember, I just got off the Bulls dogs and was talking about Floyd. The Bulls line and the Bulls brand still gonna have Boudreaux. They ended up in the long run. Now you got down there everybody from hardcore to Stone City to Going Hard and a whole bunch of other people. When you start adding Tab and Blackjack and all these other breedings that they was reaching in these red, but each one of these guys doing that shit were matching dogs. Matching dogs.
Even when it came down to this one.
You know, like I said, even when it came down to Amber, remember we grabbed her out the box. You know what I'm saying? You look in that pedigree, after how she bred when we bred her the Ace. Then wasn't doing nothing no different than everybody else is doing. There go Andy again. You know what I'm saying? And let's not forget, we already know we're going to find Stabber in this shit down here at the bottom. We're going to find Stabber in here, and we ain't got no Bolio. Remember? We're going to find Stabber down there in Jocko and them shit. So we got Andy in there. We got the Klaus dogs in there. And you're going to tell me generations later, dogs coming out like Buck? Coming down, most of all these dogs coming down through Carver too. Either Carver, Diabo, however you want to look at majority of these dogs. These are guys matching dogs. So these ain't breeders doing this shit. These are dudes who literally matching their dogs. You know? And what I liked about it was, you know, even when it came down to the smart ones, I think, you know, you have a genetic makeup. If you can carry the best part, I don't think everybody can do it when you're breeding. I think the luck came from actual dog men who matched their dogs, who called their yards and bred the best to the best. Because when you look at this bitch here, she got a whole bunch of dogs in her pedigree that were back end dogs. Wonder why? Generations of them. We're talking about generations. Amber was a back end dog. There was dogs in Fletcher Chavis' yard that were back end dogs, not just Jocko. He was crossing Jocko into some dogs. I think his dog name was Briscoe or something. Bred just like that. Across just like that. You know, and then again, you got Hank. He was a back end dog. So look, we talking about generations. Here's a generation that we got back end dogs, right? They go to Andy stuff. We know we got the Andy stuff down at the bottom, double bred a bunch of times. So when we go to move all this stuff forward, and then look, all these generations later, like Red Ruby, What a Day, and all these dogs, all them ones over there at Gameville, Yellowbird, Elrod, every one of these damn dogs, even when we start crossing the Mayday dogs into them, that genetic gene of back end, we had too much back end dog in our dogs. For them not to be back end dogs. When we talking about from the 8th all the way up 8 generations later, we still getting back end dogs. 8th back end dog. Well, I'm pretty sure he was.
7-time kill.
You know what I'm saying? When you got Zebo in there, you got that cross down, same thing, Andy stuff down in there, because that's where it come from. That's where it come from. But these were being moves made by guys matching dogs. These are still crosses. We can go back in and look at Kingfish and the way they took Kingfish and bred into Zebo, the way they took Red Boy and bred Red Boy into the Eli dog. Even back then, they had crosses with Yellow being bred to Eli long before we was even thinking about doing it. You know what I'm saying, guys? So Fletcher Chavis, you got to take your hat off to him, because he wasn't just a breeder. He was more than a breeder. He was a dog man who bred his stock and he used it. A very important thing. You know, and again, I go shout out to Floyd Boudreaux. And, you know, when I go back in here and I get ready to go dive back, and the only reason I got into the Yellow dog, you know, everybody kind of like pushed Fletcher Chavis to the side a little bit when, you know, David got out there and got major famous with Yellow. Major famous. Because Yellow had shit out here kicking out. Yellow and them them Red Boy dogs put that hold up on that damn Boyle shit. But it's not like they went out there beating all the Boyles dogs, because there was a lot of great Boyles dogs out there. You know, I hardly hear anybody ever speak on Jose's bull, grand champion. You know, I hardly ever hear anybody speak on dogs like them. You know, but these were dog men doing this. So if y'all gonna tell me that this shit dies out and we way back here, this is 4 generations here, I can go way up to the front and go 4 more and have it from here and go another 4 and take these dogs out the equation, and you're gonna still be seeing the same shit for whatever reason. For whatever reason, y'all can come up with just logical. They were still passing down back end dogs. You know what I'm saying? So, and as you notice, as we kept moving forward, guess what we was cutting down on? The losses. The losses. Not only the losses up there on the Boudreaux side or the Eli side or the Boyle side. You started noticing in all years of breeding, we cutting down losses. Now there were certain lines certain lines when you are breeding and you matching your shit, like Mr. Green, guys that had Argo in them, you know, they match their dog man, they're matching their dogs. If you were just sitting there breeding your dog, you probably wouldn't have had as many losses on that was popping up. But when you matching dogs, man, you know, and you matching in the fast lane, you're capable of losing. There's no guarantees to this shit. Ain't nobody walking in there just throwing you the money. You know, each one of these losses still was being, these are dogs that was losing. They was coming losing in great dog man's hand who was matching their dogs. But I can guarantee you, even with them losses, they were still 90%ers. How much anybody want to bet me? Ain't nobody running around here 100%, especially when you matching your dogs into the best out there. And you ain't hiding from nobody. You trying to find out how good this shit really is. See, that's the difference between a breeder and a man who breeds his yard to match his shit. He becomes a breeder. He becomes a breeder himself. And the thing about it, he calling better than the damn breeder. He's calling his yard better than the damn breeder. Because he's taking his shit out there where you can call, where his call is the real call. He's matching that shit. Like Floyd. They was matching them dogs. So what they was losing? But they all wasn't losing. They all was not losing. But one thing for damn sure, they was matching their dogs. And even when you got pedigrees with these dogs with losses, guess what it tells me? You know, they wasn't taking shortcuts. They definitely wasn't taking shortcuts. And the way I see it, like I said, 8 generations, I can go pull up some of these dogs' pedigrees and again look at this dog here and go 8 generations back. And I guarantee you, if this dog is worth a fuck, he was worth a fuck 8 generations ago. Well, y'all say it shouldn't even damn it matter. Well, okay, so it's obvious that back here got me way up here. Ain't no way in the hell you gonna tell me back here didn't get me up here. Not when I'm looking at dog fighters breedings and not a breeder's breeding. You understand what I'm saying? Oh, there's a difference. I can guarantee you I can get 8 generations out of a dog fighter's yard quickly and be able to point it out. Oh, it don't go past the 4th. It'd really be dead at the 3rd. Well, I ain't seen it yet in my damn breedings of what I was doing. And I'm telling you, I was copying. I'm telling you, I was studying. I clearly understood what potent was the point. Guys that matched their dogs. Atlas Brewer matched his dogs. James Edwards matched his dogs. Fletcher Chavis matched his dog. David Camp matched his dog. STP matched his dogs. Hardcore matched his dogs. DSK matched their dogs. Ozzie Stevens matched their dogs. Harry Hargrove matched their dogs. Name one of them guys that was not a hell of a fucking breeder. That's the point I'm trying to make. To me, we still hollering Tombstone. We still hollering putting Tombstone in there with them boys' dogs and nigger dogs and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? We you know, these are things that's going on, and we're talking about generations back. I'm going to, generations back, guys. We're talking about generations back. Anybody got any comments on any of this? Mike, gonna check the thing just in case y'all got some comments. I don't want to move too far without giving y'all a chance to iterate.
Let me give my shout out swing right quick, Mo. Big shout out to my man Garland Midget. I see you, fam. Garland said Floyd was going into the best in the country, too.
All of them was, fam.
Let's see who else I had here. I had a couple more people I need to get in right quick. Cool Beans! What up, fam? Team Mac. I see you, fam. Team Mac. Let me see. MB for Fire. What up, fam? Mr. Derek Lockett's in the house. What up, fam? SBC Kennels. I see you, fam. Talk of the city representing. What up, fam? Yo, my man, Mr. John Dembry. This is not J-Bo. What up, fam? Okay, I'm gonna come up now.
No questions, no replies.
Big shout out to my man, Mr. William Torres. I see you, fam. Okay, yo,
Okay, give me one second and get back here where I was. Okay, I'm gonna take y'all back here again, and take y'all somewhere. Okay, remember we're right here, Cool Buck Jr., Sadie Cool Buck, right? Coming down off of Lester Hughes. We know Lester Hughes was matching his dog. You know, we've seen that with Wrangler, right? See, he had a sibling though. These are his siblings. So you know Lester Hughes was matching his dogs. There's no doubt. Remember I told you my KP and BLB, they went down and bought this dog, the litter mate to him. Breeder Greg Lester, Bluegrass Kennels. Right? Bred him, bought him to Akron. Look at his offspring. You want to bred a lot, but look at his offspring. Still Greg Lester, man, it matches his dogs. Another one, a man who matched his dogs. These are the dogs that was produced. All three of these were litter mates. This the one who was going in the Tyrone. But all three of these were litter mates. All three litter mates. Why? This guy's matching his dogs. He running around with KP. That's why they ended up over here. Same place that Amber came. The same place they went and got this dog. Same place. Same place Amber came from. Same place this dog come from. Right here. Now, when you look at this dog, you know, this is the Luther stuff. People don't know that. Can't really tell in this pedigree. But if you kept on digging in there, and just the top half, what you start seeing? The Kung Fu dog was a nice ass dog too. Look what you start seeing. That's Luther's brother right there. Grand Champion Luther, Bill Struthers, Grand Champion Luther. That's his little brother. And again, we're talking about guys who was matching their dogs.
Well, that was the old man who wasn't doing but sitting there breathing.
And this old man here, old Mr. Klein, this guy right here, Mr. George Klein, he didn't match dogs. But you best believe where I went to Madison, where these dogs was, he definitely was in Ohio, sure knew about Grand Champion Luther, and he knew about Dolomite too. He was smart when he made this breed. Why? Because these are Eli dogs. Remember I was talking about the Cooper stuff? Cross that stuff right back into the Eli stuff. Still talking about guys who was matching their dog. This man took his dog and went into a grand champion. He took his shit and he went into a grand champion. Was it a line breeding? Hell yeah, it was a line breeding. You know? You see the dog that's back there. Still talking about a man matching his dog. Still talking about somebody matching dogs. Just so happened to be running around with the KP to land this move and turned out with a great litter. That produced a line of damn dogs. Look at this bitch. Sibling. Going hard Timex. Satan and Cherry. Them 3 dogs. We bought these 2 dogs and then he went back and bought that bitch. Remember this dog here, again, I say again, a man who matches dogs made the right move. We down there playing around and ended up with some nice ass dogs right here. But we was matching dogs. Can't tell. But you can tell one damn thing for sure. The man that made the breed was matching dogs. The man who was breeding was matching dogs, took those dogs, and yes, Timex got poisoned, but he was definitely a match dog. That would have been all 3 of the litter mates. All 3 of the litter mates. Remember, they litter mate sister produced BJ and Charlie. A man who was matching his dog. Y'all see where I'm coming from? can see there is still a formula right there. And that's a breeder doing that. That's a breeder doing that. Dog got into some guys that was matching dogs. They weren't matching dogs, and dogs still be running around in that gate trying to bite people. Bred to win. And they did win. You can tell these Ohio dogs, Sam, he's up there by Youngstown, where, Youngstown and where Sam and them live wasn't far from PA, the PA border. So a lot of them guys was up there where Bill and them was. They was, Fergie, Fat Bill, all of them came through there matching dogs. These dogs was out there. These were fast lane dogs, guys. This dog right here went to all fast lane dog men. All 5 of them was dog men. The difference when you're talking about a breeder / dog fighter compared to just the breeder. The breeder has to depend on a dog fighter to make his dog worthy. Fletcher Chavis. I mean, we're talking about most of the great dogs didn't just come off a breeder's yard. It took the dogs to come off a breeder's yard to fall into a dog man's hand. But you're talking about a dog man who was putting him down, who built his yard of activity based on what he was breeding. You're going to see a whole lot more of those type of breedings and most famous dogs. Guys who were matching dogs, breeding a line, like the Gastons, like the Undertaker, Ronnie Bulls, Floyd Boudreaux, all these dog men, Maurice Carver. These weren't breeders, these were dog fighters. You know what I'm saying? Okay.
My man Vulgar, display of power. He said they had curves in those lines too, though.
All the lines got curves. The thing is, here's the issue, guys.
Show me the difference.
Let me tell you something, man. Do you see any losers in this pedigree right here? You see a dead game loss. That's all you see. Dead game loss. They had a little mate brother whose name was Lester. He was a 2-time winner. He lost for his championship. There was a brother in there. His name was Lester. He lost. He was a 2-time winner. He ain't on this list. But there was another one. Shy Girl, yeah, huge. I just named 4 puppies. BLB's Lester, 2-time winner. He lost for his championship. BJ, 3-time winner. Charlie, 3-time winner. And then Shy Girl, a 2-time winner. All litter mates.
Satan 5 times.
And then you got Satan, and you don't see Satan in none of their pedigree. You got the litter mate sister producing these dogs.
That line worked out pretty good for him. Let me get you back on the mic here.
You don't see the loser. You don't see dogs losing. They all will lose. That's the whole purpose of taking them out. You're taking a chance of losing every time you go out. Every time you go out, you're taking a chance to lose. And the same thing again. This dog produced. She produced. We're still talking about dog men who do they dogs. Look at old Bill had one. You know, and the last I remember, you know, there was a breeding where they took a female out of this breeding here. It might have been her. You know, they made this breeding with Grand Champion Duke. They bred this bitch right here, the Grand Champion Duke. Grand Champion Duke came down off of Bill Struthers' Grand Champion Luther. You know, there was good crosses, man. But these are still all these dudes that I'm pointing out. You know, we see this guy's name, you know, and you're going to always see the KP because everything I'm pointing out, you know, all of them got something to do with my KP. All of them. All these lines going to have them. Let me go grab some guy to eat shit. I like getting into them Bulls dogs too. Hold on. This dog here. These is Bulls dogs. Supposed to be. You know, that's a little Mayday. That's a Mayday dog in that pedigree. Yeah. Show you why it clicked. You put this in as Brat pedigree, and then you come down here. This is what you're going to see. A whole bunch of Patrick shit crossed with the Eli dogs. Whole bunch of Patrick shit crossed with the Eli dogs. And not only that, let's not forget that Brat and Little Mayday came off of Mayday. So that means we just added, look at all the ROMs in that. Change Kunta to Mayday. And now we adding yellow on top of that shit, red boy on top of all that shit, and a whole bunch of ROMs. And these guys ran the whole line of these dogs. Now let me just start, let's point them out. This dog, I seen him lose. Or he had a loss. Didn't mean he can't produce, but he had a loss. See his brother, see his son, Blood Raw, he had a loss, but he went 3 hours and some change. Still dealing with dog men. See, they all lose. But they gets it in. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do. Get them in. but they were 90 percenters. I mean, come on now. 90 percenters? That means 90% of the time they dogs won. 90% of the time they dogs won. These boys won 90% of the time. 90% of the time they won. You look at the way they bred, you can understand what I'm talking about. You know, and I always say, you got to get it. You got, you know, when we go back and look at Floyd, like, and even when you go back and look at the teal stuff, you're going to see losers in the red boy stuff. Just because a dog have losses in their pedigree, what did that mean? I would have losses in my damn pedigree through guys matching dogs and have losses in a fucking pedigree who ain't even matching damn dogs. You can go, I'm gonna go to the kennel who's matching dog with a loss compared to somebody who got a yard full of dogs that ain't matching dogs and got losses in their pedigree. At least when I go to a real dog, man, I know he didn't check this shit because he matching dogs. Now, catching my point? Losses don't kill a pedigree. Ain't nobody running around here 99.9%. Only one person I know that I ain't never heard lost. And, you know, and I would have to put that to 99. I ain't see it, but they say Supernat lost before. I would like to see it. You know, and if he did lose, he still was a 90%er.
Tony Wade was 99.
Tony Wade was 99.9 because he only lost one out of it. He didn't match a bunch of dogs. He had a whole bunch of money, but he matched at least 23, 24 dogs. And 23-1 is not a bad record. Ask Fat Bill. Fat Bill matched into him before. Hargrove matched into him before. Undertaker matched into him before. They matched dogs. They all lost. Like I said, man, when you dealing with guys that win and they win in 90%, you have all the reason in the world, to go and get those dogs. And you have a better chance of winning with those dogs. Now I can show you two generations of dogs that they took and started working and was winning. Let's keep in mind, every time you see this here, this is Mayday. Mayday. This dog went over 3 hours when he lost. This dog was a killer. Wonder why? I mean, you got double Mayday in there. You got double Mayday in there, total package. When you got double Mayday in there, actually got him up close. %ers match their dogs. This is why they still producing winners. You know what I'm saying? That dog pedigree is Mayday. It's still all Patrick. That's why it clicked. You're going to hear me keep on telling y'all that. It's why it clicked. Fat girl. Let's look at her bottom. We already know that's Mayday up here. Mayday yellow. Don't forget Amber, a whole bunch of red boy shit. Eli shit. Got Charlie up in there. What do we see? Let me help you. Patrick Dog. Who was the key factor? I keep telling y'all, always hollering. Red Baby. Red Baby gonna throw ROMs. Red Baby gonna throw you match dogs. If you got Red Baby in there, there's a reason why she in there. Because most of the time we see Red Baby, we see her in match dogs. Winning match dogs, 90%ers. 90%ers. Why? Because they're going into dog man's hands that uses them. Now you put Mayday on top of all that. It gets us right back to the whole purpose of the yellow shit. Where are we getting all this ROM shit from? We getting it from the red boy side. We getting it from the red baby side. We getting it from the Bolio side. If you notice what I'm saying, it's like a genetic just being carried. It's carrying, but guess what else it's doing? It's being used by dog men. It's being used by dog men. Just matching their dogs. Like I said, if you to put that pedigree right, that'd be Mayday right there. That'd be Mayday, Red Ace. Champion Charlie, Miss Woodley, Zebo, Toxic Spider, bred the Champion Charlie. But that Mayday shit, it gonna pat right in with all this Patrick shit, all this ROM shit. This is why they were successful. They had a running line. You could tell they was matching dogs. You could tell they was breeding, they stopped. Hey, no, they didn't know that was Little Mayday. They didn't breed him like it was Little Mayday. But I'm showing you some Mayday shit that was crossed with some Boyle shit that worked. Being the coochie didn't produce shit, well, guess what? Every time they crossed him over into this Patrick shit, what they would get getting? Some bulldogs. Bulldogs. They had a lot more ROM coming in. A lot more ROM. You putting Mayday in there, you putting yellow in there. You got the Patrick dogs in there. You got it coming from the Patrick side of the Boyle dogs, Buck dogs, the Homer dogs. Then you put in yellow, more ROM shit. If you ain't gonna get an ROM, you at least gonna get some match dogs. You're gonna get something. Too many ROMs showing up. And we're talking about way back here. We're looking at these dogs right here. A whole generation and that one dog right there. And then you go back here and look at all that shit. They didn't do nothing but make the pedigree better. Because you see they using they shit. No, you cross Little Mayday, Coochie, whatever you want to call him, cross him into any Patrick line dogs, you were going to get results. Keep trying to cross him back into the same old, bring him like his pedigree,
You got new people, show them what the real pedigree. people in here showing his real pedigree.
Oh, little Mayday. Hold on, guys.
That's it.
That's his pedigree.
Yeah. Let me see his name again.
AKA Kunta.
Right, so it might be over.
Why were they successful over there? Gotta eat. Why were they successful? Look at all that yellow. Look at the gazebo. Remember that Andy stuff that I keep talking about? That Andy stuff and the Jocko stuff? Remember, we talking about 8 generations back. We're going to find Andy all up in here. Rosie all up in here. We go into these dogs' pedigree. We're going to find Patrick all up in here. Klaus's Stabber all up in here. All up in these dogs. Now you're going to take and put some Boyle stuff up in there with some more Eli stuff? This is why it was working.
It didn't just work for us.
It didn't work for us, as we can tell, because we definitely ain't on my shit. We talk about Kunta, who was bred, said to be bred another way, and they took the shit the way they thought it was bred and it was working when couldn't nobody else do that and get it to work. This is the key right here. This part. You put this bitch with any bull's dog right there, it's gonna work. That's what Gotta Eat did. Even though they know that's what they were getting, these are the type of dogs they was getting, crossed into some Boyles brand, Boyles line. Only time this shit worked with Kunta. All them other crosses, why didn't they work? Why didn't all the other Boyles crosses work? Why did this particular one work for Gotta Eat and didn't work for nobody else? You know what I'm saying? Think I'm bullshitting? Hold on. Another dog. Bred him like a bulldog. Bred him like a bulldog. Look at that bottom. Like a bulldog, right? Whole bottom. But we know this piece right here is Mayday. Mayday. Crossed into this shit. All that Patrick being crossed into what? More Patrick shit. well-bred balance. Add that piece of it to the puzzle. More Patrick shit. Think of that Eli cross, got Buck crossed in there. And all they did is just added this dog right here and got this mother. All them crosses. Why did it work? Same thing. Took the yellow stuff, right? Bred into the Hollandworth stuff. Not only did they breed into the Hollandworth stuff, they bred into the Buck stuff on top of that. Now you adding not only the Buck stuff, now you're adding the Boyle stuff. That's why that shit worked. Why could it produce accumulation of a bunch of down all whims? Remember, we got Zebo every time we start talking about yellow. Anytime we start talking about Buck, we still dealing with Klaus, Stabber, Bolio, Red Baby, Lady Sesame, the Zebo stuff, the Andy stuff that we seen crossed with the yellow stuff working any damn way. But we still dealing with kennels that's doing this, that's matching their dogs. Matching their dogs. It's a whole lot in there. Miss Nico, like I said, Jeep dog. Buck, Jeep cross. Didn't we see this before? We seen that way back. We go back 4 more generations and we be looking at the same shit back there. That's still Jeep Rail Boy cross. And you add little Mayday to that. With all that yellow and Jeep he had in him right here. It lines up perfect with what was going on. That's why that shit worked. Handlers don't lose their grand champions. Dogs don't lose their grand championships on handler fallouts. Just for y'all to know. I don't even think they knew that. A dog can only lose his grand championship on a loss if the dog lost, not the handler. But we still talking about Boyle's dogs and Bujo dogs. Why do I keep saying Bujo dogs? Because we're going to find Bujo in these dogs. We're going to find Maurice Carver all up in these dogs. We talk about every one of these people that I'm naming match dogs. That's the difference. And each one of these kennels that I done pulled up tonight, the dog that I'm pulling up came out of working kennels. Every damn one of them. I ain't pulled up one that didn't. You know, we can go down there and start digging in. Man, let me pull up Jose Grand Champion Bull right quick. I hardly heard anybody ever speak of this dog. Hold on, I'm gonna be there in a minute, fellas. Dog looking like criminal on them. Again. Oh, there's Grand Champion Bull. Okay, Bray. Okay, Bray. You see what I'm saying? Boudreaux. Boudreaux. You see the same stuff down there in the Jocko. Red Baby. Why? It's because of Stabber. The Klaus. Still working kennels doing this. Working kennels doing this. Looking just like criminal on them, huh? It's that Patrick stuff. It goes a long way, especially when you crossing it, you know, because all this shit goes all the way back to Maurice Carver. 90% of this stuff in these pedigrees gonna go take it back to Maurice Carver, whether it's coming back to Bowley or Bully son, it don't motherfucking matter. We gonna get back there to the Carver. We gonna get back there. Majority Carver bred dogs. Carver bred dogs. They was taking this shit, crossing it into them red boy dogs long before we started talking about Tab in them. They was doing it. Key factors. I keep pointing out particular key factors. Key factors. All them traits. All them traits. Key factors.
Fighting style traits.
Fighting dogs. What's all them producers of fighting dogs. See that shit? See how that run go? We can go and do that shit to Mayday and them shit. Go do that shit with Yellow and them. Y'all know what I'm saying? But we're still talking about working dogs. Not a breeder just sitting here putting a pretty pedigree together and came up with a good one. I ain't pulled out one of them yet tonight. And I done pulled up all some great dogs, all some real bulldogs, all some real kennels just doing this shit. See, there's a difference between what I see today and what I observed yesterday. You know, we was a part of that movement. I did it my damn self, copying off of everybody else. I'm not the only one copying. They copying their damn self based on the way they breeding this shit. Because we can go all the way back to Jocko and Yellow. And wonder why they got Andy in that shit. Wonder why they got Red Baby and put in that shit. Wonder why they went and got Bolio put in there and Zebo put in there. Then Jeep put in there. Been working since they started doing it back then. 8 generations later, we still getting these type of dogs winning. Yet this shit's supposed to fall off in the first 4 generations. That's some bullshit. I don't believe it because I can go back 8 generations and come all the way back up here and show you why that shit worked from back here to up here. Because one thing for damn sure, dogs that produce all whims like this, lines like this, are lines that we talk about today. Floyd Boudreaux dead. Ronnie Boyles is dead. You know what I'm saying? And they didn't do no more than what I did. You know what I'm saying? I didn't do no more than what they did. And all we did, we just put our name on there, go on hard dog. But guess what? You go down there and look through them pedigrees, and you'll see Fletcher Chavis was a dog man, Ronnie Boyles was a dog man, You understand what I'm saying? STP was a dog, man. All these dogs is match dogs. All them, it's a trait. Got to be. It's got to be. With all the RMs that's in our line of dogs. I'm showing you the way that shit looked and why it worked in places that it couldn't work in other places when it comes to my shit. Remember, little Matty didn't have but one damn letter. One damn letter. Before he got hold on, I'll be right with you guys. Hold on. Oh, that's what I'm doing? Oh, my fault. Okay. Oh, I'm sharing it. Okay. This is one of his litter. This is one of his litter off his daughter. He only had one female, and he had a male and a female. Little man had a male and a female. That's his daughter right there. Now you can take this same line, the same old cross right here. You go find Grand Champion Romeo Buck. You go grab this little female here and go find Romeo and find out that they bred just alike. Line bred the same way. Same thing. What's the key factor? Why was this bitch able to produce? Why did she produce? Look at her background. We go to breaking this shit down and we go just to her alone and start working our way back. We didn't even add Stone City to the shit. Didn't even add Stone City to it. What you looking at is Brat's pedigree. Right here. All them shit. You go to H, you're going to see a bunch of all them. You go to him, you're going to see all that yellow stuff off of Amber. Remember all that red boy stuff? You go to Bruiser, more red boy stuff. You go down here, you got more yellow stuff and G stuff. As a matter of fact, in Buck.
Shit don't look like they shit.
Now this is my shit, and my shit don't look like they shit. Oh yes, it does. Oh, it does. You know why? Because I match dogs. That's why. Because I match dogs. That was the key.
Offspring.
You see what I'm saying? We did this earlier on somebody else's pedigree. We can still pull out them same lines of dogs. We can pull up some Chavis dogs here. We can pull up some Patrick dogs here. We can pull up some Eli dogs here. You see what I'm saying? And some Andy dogs. Remember, we're going to get Andy off of Zebo and all that Jocko shit. The back end shit, we got so much back end in these dogs right here, it's ridiculous. All we did is added crazy when we added this. Whatever made this shit right here special, right here what made him such a special dog, where did the crazy come from? You know what I'm saying? That would be my question. Where did the crazy come from? Where did that ultimate aggression come from? Me personally, if you were to ask me, I'll tell you it came from here. I'll tell you it came from here. Why I say from here? Goddamn boy, shit is that tombstone. That rough ass shit. You know what I'm saying? That's where it come from. And then they crossed it with some Eli. They go Goldie. They go that Zeke. They go that Eli. They go that Boudreaux. You see what I'm saying, y'all? Huh? Y'all feel me?
We've been doing this too long.
Been doing this shit too long. I match dogs. I match dogs. Mexican Dan was a bad boy. He was a bad boy. That's where it comes from. Now you adding Tombstone in there with the Stabber, okay? With the Eli. Got a whole bunch of ROM to carry you all through this shit. Got all that ROM stuff. Champion here. Champion Little May's sister. Don't forget, Champion Little May's sister. Bred to the same line of dogs, bred to the same damn weight. Look a little buck. We getting the same shit. Still playing with them winners. Still playing with the heavy Jeep. Still playing with the heavy buck. Still playing with the Zebo. Don't forget, we still playing with the Zebo. In the Stabber. In the Red Baby. This is why these dogs didn't do nothing no more different than them dogs 4 generations back. 4 generations back. And I matched dogs. And I'm doing what they was doing. Matter of fact, pulled the first one off. Right there. And got that. And every one of these that worked, every single one of these was bred the same damn way. They went the same damn way. They went the same way. We'll start with this one. Same way. Back end killer. Same way. Back end destroyer. 30 minutes. Running like a daddy in them, to be honest. Brat, 30 minutes. Little Mayday, 30 minutes. They were both killers. That's a fact. When we pull up Kunch's paddock, when we pull up his thing, you'll see the longest match he had was with Wacko, and that went 36 minutes. The line speaks for itself. Look like them gotta eat dogs too, don't they? Again, what's bred different? Same way. Same way. Still dealing with guys that match dogs. Still dealing with people who match dogs. Same way. Still dealing with people who match dogs. Same thing. More yellow, more yellow. Now we adding Annabelle. Whole bunch of yellow. All of them look the same. You see them, little white toes? They all look the same. Got all that Jocko in there, but that means we got Andy in here. Heavy Andy, heavy Andy. What helps those dogs produce? All that ROM shit.
Go show me Andy right quick.
For those who forgot, let me just make sure y'all see it. Here's the Jocko dog. You see all that heavy stuff? What are you gonna see? You see that Andy? Key piece of that puzzle. Andy and Stabber? Andy and Stabber? Satan. This man knew what he was doing. And all these crosses, why would you go grab him? And why would you take this Stabber bitch and go breed to Andy? Andy had to be doing something if you getting a guy who matches his dogs breeding this shit. He got to have some type of information about that damn Andy dog. He had to have something. He must have had something on his yard that he liked coming off of this long Abbey shit. The guy long period to be taking his shit and crossing it. This is the shit you created, Jocko. You know what I'm saying? And look how far back I am. I'm still talking about Andy. I'm still talking about the Red Boy dogs. Putting all that shit together. The Eli dog. Putting all that, jamming all that shit together. What's the key piece in all this shit that I'm pointing up? I'm still grabbing dogs who got history. History. By dealing with guys who match dogs. Guys that match dogs. I've seen her win. I've seen her beat Stone City. But yes, you know, it's all in the breeding. Who's making the breedings? Remember, all these damn dogs got Carver in them. They got Andy in them, Zebo, Stabber, Fitzwater, Goldie, Little Tater, Kobe, Klaus. I mean, come on now. I mean, I'm just keeping it real with you. If you know how to read, if you don't know how to read, you know, I know I move pretty fast through here. But thank God for James Pope. Thank God for my kennel partner. And thank God for me being in a position where I had an opportunity to want to match dogs and understand how they was getting them. Learning from the start, from day one, figuring it out. And still wasn't doing no more than Stone City, Hardcore, Victor, David Tant, Fletcher Chavis, people who had Zebo on them, Greg Lester, Bluegrass Kennels, just following the trend. STP, following the trend. All Wims produce all Wims. One thing for damn sure, it definitely gives you a better percentage when you're doing that. It definitely gives you a better percentage when you're doing that. Got one more before I give it up. Another bad bitch that ain't on that list. Same thing.
Show me the name of the dog.
Same thing. Same thing. Taking guys that match dogs. Guys that match dogs. Making these kind of breedings. You see the Eli in there. You see the Andy in there. You see the Klaus in there. You see the Stabber in there. You see the Red Baby in there. You see Red Boy, Yellow John in there. Red Boy in there. I mean, the whole combination. It's got combination. Get match dogs. I mean, at least they got one out of this one that was a hell of a motherfucker. And she was a destroyer.
No, never over 37 times.
Now, I'm gonna pull up Dum Dum in them for a minute. I'm gonna put up one more y'all before I go off. I had to throw this one up there. Champion Dum Dum. Deep South Champion Dum Dum. Not only did Dum Dum become a champion, he had a Little May's sister too. That's the bitch that beat the Mallory dog. Yeah, you know Mallory, you know, big thickest champion Mallory going for a grand championship. This bitch stopped her. Stopped her. Let's look at her, look at their pedigree. What do we see here? Look what we noticed. Oh, look at all this Boyle shit. Now we talking about the line, not the brand, the line. No need to go all down in there, deep in there, because you know we're going to have the Eli. You already know we're going to have the Eli. We're going to have the Stabber. We're going to have the Red Baby. Y'all see what I'm saying? Got the Boyles. Let me help y'all here with old Ozzy. There go to Andy, just to make sure y'all was paying attention. Don't forget Andy. Tombstone. Still dealing with guys who match their dogs. The Little Magic Champion Charlie Boy. Miss Rage. Okay? This is what them kind of dogs do when you're messing with guys who match their dogs that's got these type of pedigrees. There's a difference between what we were doing. And I can't even speak on what y'all doing. I'm just speaking on what we were doing. And this is what they were doing before I started doing it. And you know, when we start talking about these dogs here, especially when we start talking about Mr. Ozzy, Mr. Stevens, we gonna go in there and we grab Mr. Greenwood, and then we'll turn around there and grab Mr. Greenwood. We'll go over there and grab Mr. Andre Giroux and them, and we're gonna see the same shit we're looking at right here. Same shit. That Faye Andy shit. Andy. All these guys was producing winners with those dogs. See, I like to get in depth and point out facts and things that, you know, you can go back and hit this rewind and just take your time and start really looking through it. Really looking through it. Like I said, you're going to see my Eli. Remember, we seen the Harris dog down there in Eli 3 dog down there in Satan and them. We're going to find Boy Bob and Junior and Buck. We're gonna find red, baby. We're gonna find red, baby, and all that shit. And all of it. You see her? You see her? All that arm shit going in there with that yellow shit down in there with that Eli shit, all that arm shit coming from Jeep, Eli 3, the whole kit. Go ahead and holler at him like quick. You'll take us into any questions you need. Let's see.
Yeah. Big shout out to my man, Mr. Brandon Crawford. I see you, fam. And Anthro Bulldogology, what up, fam? Mr. John Johnson, what up, fam?
These dogs is bred, man. Y'all, to my mic. Mine going.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, y'all see the way these dogs is bred? These is winners. Producing winners. How can you not be a producing winner when you got all grand champion, all and a two-time winner? All grand champion, all heading right on back.
Go back to your shit up there. She up there somewhere. Hit the share this tab. Same thing. Oh.
Same thing. Running down through there. And look, we barely got yellow up in here. We barely got yellow up in here. See all that? Producing line of dogs. And what do we have all in common? We all match our yard. Our purpose was not to breed pretty pedigrees. It was to produce winners.
Killers!
Now,
Stop saying this. Stop saying
take another good look before I leave it. Guys, my point. You know, I hear I hear a lot of people talking about pedigrees and certain dogs, but I be trying to go a little more in depth and pointing out things that I don't hear most guys pointing out, because most guys don't get a chance to do what I can do, is bring my shit up here and show you my shit, and there's a whole lot more of that shit too. Whole lot more, but I'm pointing out what we did and what they did. It's no damn difference. I can go and start from my shit and go 8 generations back, and y'all gonna tell me this shit got wiped out? You know, that shit back there in that 8 didn't matter? Y'all say that. Y'all say that. I say different. I say different because we matching our dog. We can take them 8 shit and bring it all the way back up to the front if we doing what we supposed to do with it. Because the only ones we've been pointing out tonight are those winners, those producers, those lines. What made they shit click? Everybody didn't do that because they couldn't do that because they weren't doing what we were doing. This was all dog man. Didn't pull out one damn breeder. No, I mean, I can go, guys, and start digging into that Eli shit and show you some shit that they were doing with Kingfish and Eli. You know, I can show you some shit where they was taking, look what Triple M and them was doing with they dogs, taking they alligator dogs, they nigga dogs, and bringing them to some Jeep dogs. Getting an all-around letter. Was he doing something different? Hell no, same thing they did with Jocko. Jocko was a Mayfield dog. Oh, it did bred into a Kobe dog. Basically, still a Carver dog. A Kobe dog bred to Bentley's boat. Same shit in Red Boy. Same shit in Red Boy. Cross with the nigga stuff, the Mayfield stuff, same shit. Come up with all of them litter. Take Tab, bring him to a yellow dog, a Red Boy dog. Cross into some more Eli stuff. Old Boudreaux. Same Boudreaux that keeps showing up in all this other shit. Making everybody famous. Reese Carver and Floyd Boudreaux made a lot of us famous. Fletcher Chavis made a lot of us famous. Don Mayfield made a lot of us famous. Pat Patrick made a lot of us famous. If we knew how to take their shit and use it. I'm throwing the mic on the floor, goddamn. I ain't dropping shit tonight. I'm throwing it on the floor. Pay attention. All right, y'all. Thank y'all for listening, man. Y'all want to get any comments? Anybody got anything to say? I hope everybody. Hey, look, if anybody, look, just do me a favor. Because I sat up here and I ran some shit down. I just asked you guys to do this one thing to do for me. If y'all kind of caught on, just kind of caught on. Because everybody's set in their way. Everybody got their own way of doing shit. Okay, I'm not interfering with that. What I'm showing you guys tonight, I'm showing y'all a list of shit that I took a bunch of damn dogs. A bunch of dogs. And showed you the similarity to these lines and how these dog men were doing with their dogs and watching how all these great kennels. Remember, we all got famous off of some shit that was already famous. We didn't make up no new shit. We followed the trend. Because we matched our dogs. I'm going to keep on killing because every one of these famous dogs that came up tonight were match dogs. Coming out of guys who match their shit.
All that other shit don't mean shit.
All that other shit didn't mean shit. No. Tell me you can't go back 8 generations. I can show you. I can go back 8 generations and show you 8 generations later. We still got doggone in your ass.
Actually,
ass
16
in.
generations.
Damn near do it down there 16 these days. We'll still go back there in your ass.
Work it all the way to the front, huh?
Work it all the way to the front. Work it all the way to the front. And there's an explanation of how I got it. Take you back there and show you where it came from and show you how through the generations of producing and matching their shit, they were able to carry it. Not because it was in the blood, because we were getting it in the performance. You want to get famous, but act like the famous people do. Do what they do. I ain't have no problem telling y'all I do what everybody else do. I paid attention. And evidently they was paying attention too. If we can do this and show y'all that they was copying up, but this one was copying up, and then Debo couldn't produce shit. Up. Okay, Kunta couldn't produce shit. You know why? Understand? Because we showed y'all how he could produce when he did produce. Bred in the way he's supposed to be bred. dealing with some guys who match they shit.
All right, guys, I'm trying to get back over tonight. All right, Mo. All right, now look, I ain't trying to be here all night, fellas.
I just need some thumbs up on my words tonight. That's all. I just want to make sure they heard.
Now, you know, we had this conversation. I see everybody out there talking, but I say, you know, this is a conversation. A man that needs to open up, let him have it, Mo, because I'm just saying. We dealt with this type of shit. We was around then. We were dealing with people who were actually doing things. We actually dealing with people who know how to read pedigrees. You talk about Mo, KP, and James Pope. That's how we got in the yellow, man. We was already dealing with these fly dogs. So no, we weren't stuck on Mayday. Before when people like Mayday dog, well, wait a minute. Y'all should be slapping your own self in the face.
We had Shirley Dog before Blackjack came along.
We were dealing with Shirley dogs before Blackjack came along. We kind of already knew how them dogs was gonna be. But then the thing that I be tripping at everybody talk about the Mayday shit. Wait, get off the Mayday shit and go back and take a good look. Go back and this thing about what Mo said tonight. When you talking about Yellow and Jocko, Red Boy, all of them, think about it. As long as I can remember, Mo always been calling and talking about, man, we always gonna have some Zebo in our shit. Sometimes I don't think people catch on to that. But how you gonna not have it if you're dealing with Red Boy, Jocko? I mean, how are you not gonna have it? See, it's a lot of the conversation I hear people talking, and sometimes I really don't. I be paying like, man, it's like y'all don't really know the pedigrees. To sit there and say, I'm going from the 8th to the 1st, and my 1st can't look like the 8th. I thought that was the craziest thing I ever heard in my life. And many dogs that we have done over the years and watched people do and have bred for ourselves, and many tell me we couldn't bring the back to the front, we would have been out of dogs a long time ago. But pay attention because I'm telling you, man, every dog he pulled up tonight was a match dog. We're talking about match dogs over here and going hard kennels reloaded. I'm sorry. This is the history of the American Pit Bull Terrier. The Boudreaux, rest in peace. The Ronnie Boyles, rest in peace. The Big Thickets, the Carvers, the Klauses. Man, look, man, this dog game has a history. It ain't nothing back there that you can go back and change. It is going to be what it is, regardless of what people say, what people think. The only thing mattered back in those days, all the way up through our time and beyond, is good American Pit Bull Terriers. And I'm only speaking from the box side of the game. And if the box is what made us breeders, then so be it. Because that means we are breeding to use our own shit. No different than anybody else he showed tonight. So don't talk that bullshit. The breeder gonna try to this, the box man, if he breeding, he ain't giving it away. Well, hold on. Hold on. Because a lot of them people that we looked at tonight, guess what? There were other people getting their hands on their shit, just like a lot of other people got their hands on our shit. A lot of people got their hands on Stone City shit. A lot of people got their hands on Southern Kennels shit. A lot of people got their hands on Deep South shit. A lot of people got their hands on going hard shit. I'm just saying, it's not like we just set on everything. We used what we could use, and we gave everything else good homes. That's it. And if that don't make sense, because there is no controversy in this conversation, fellas. Not when I'm trying to get you. I'm really trying to shut the conversation down because it's all in the receipts. Maybe not everybody know how to read the damn pedigree. Maybe not everybody not ever just sat back and went and looked at this shit because you're just out there just throwing shit together. But how do you throw this shit together without some kind of performance ability? I mean, some you got to have a reason why the hell you doing it. And I don't see how this game can I mean, the dogs supposed to get better if you're not doing that when the game wasn't built on that. So the only thing I can talk about when I hear people saying dumb shit is go back, wait a minute. The only reason you talk about this shit because it's worthy to be talked about. Don't tell me because it's in the 8th generation and it ain't shit. Well, no, because that ain't never how it's been. It didn't matter from the 8th generation. What mattered is our ability to take it from back there and bring it up here. And what are they? Look, fellas, you see it for yourself. What were they doing to get it to the front? They was using this shit, man. Come on. Don't be having that conversation and act like they was just puppy peddling. Come on, man. Stop that. This wasn't a puppy peddling game. It's a matchdog game. Hear what I'm saying? Understand where we're trying to come from. Now, fellas, before I get up out of here, I need y'all to show me some love because I need that. And I ain't trying to step on nobody's feet. And this wasn't directed in anybody in particular. It's just when I see, Yellow been a hell of a conversation, and we just got off the Bulls situation, and we talked about, Mr. Floyd on Tuesday to turn right around and lose him on a Wednesday. But I'm glad we had the Tuesday show. I'm glad we're having these conversations because these men's name gonna live throughout time when you start talking about the American Pit Bull Terrier. Come on, man. Look how long Earl Tudor and Daibo been gone, man. Klaus, Carver. Think about the names I'm talking about. Think about the names. Look at the dogs in our pedigrees. The great dog men that we're copying off of. That we're doing the same thing they doing, hoping to get the same results. You should be able to get the same results if you're paying attention. Let us be proven factors of that. Let other people's yards be proof of fact of that. If you pay attention to the people who was teaching the people how to do what they were doing, you'll understand why everybody was able to do what they was doing, because it all started at the mentor. Somebody had to stop and tell you. Somebody had to give you a chance and give you the right shit to show you the right way to do shit. Now, a lot of people don't have to do that. They grab shit, do whatever the way they want to. They ain't going to cry about the damn line because you so hard-headed because you got your own way of how to do shit. But no, you ain't trying to be like the smart people is. You ain't trying to do what history tried to show your ass what to do. You do exactly what they did because anything other than that, you're not going to get the same result. You're supposed to learn that back in elementary school. 1 + 1 gonna always be 2. 2 + 2 is always gonna be 4. There's just certain things that's gonna be what it is. And this bulldog game has always been consistent of proving that point. It's going to take the right dog, man, with the right dog to be able to understand what he's doing. And the only way you're going to respect what he's doing, you got to be able to respect what he done based on his accomplishments, his consistency, their ability to win and produce. That was our dream, to be able to do what they were doing. And we never came close to be able to do it on the level of so many other guys. But then that's why we talk about those other guys. Because there's other guys that did things a whole lot different with getting the same damn results. Mile, totally different way. Arsenal, totally different way. You look about Hardcore Mike and them, totally different way. DSK, look at the way they did they shit. Totally different way. Everybody had a certain way, but if you pay close attention to everybody's story, I seen them, Bubba Max and DSK Jerry's interview, and I was just, it was a very good interview to me because DSK were behind a lot of dogs, a lot of great dogs. And like he said, you know, Jerry made it clear. It took a family to do that many dogs the way they did they dogs. We tell y'all the same thing. But it takes the right people to have your dogs in order for other people to respect what you're doing. Can you produce dogs that can do the same thing it was doing for you in somebody else's hands? That's the whole key to the whole damn puzzle. That's the key to the whole conversation of the night. The consistency of being able to do what the person who gave it to you did and continuously be consistent at doing it. It's a beautiful thing, man. And I'm telling you, you don't have to argue about bullshit when you're already dealing with real shit. Now, we come from the land of real shit. You think you about that life? You really want to be about that life? Then you better be willing to climb over the wall and prove it.
Get on the bus.
Get on the bus. Get your feet on the yellow line. And release your dog. That's the history of the American Pit Bull Terrier, fellas. I'm not going to sit here and try to tell you what the future going to look like, but I'm going to correct anything that I find wrong when it comes down to the history. Because it's more than just talking about it. You need to be able to get up there and show them what the fuck you're talking about for it to make sense. Because how you going to teach somebody something that you really don't understand? Why are you even trying? Is where I'm at. That's what makes me have a conversation. Because so many people talking, but can't nobody do that. I wonder why. Like my man Jerry over DSK said, because they ain't doing what we was doing. Now, there's another great dog man said the same damn thing that we've been saying from day one. How many more you done heard say and gonna say it? So if you ain't understanding that, then what the hell is it left to talk about, arguing about? What's supposed to be the problem? Understand and respect the game. the honor, the integrity, the loyalty to the dog, the love of the game. Them things haven't changed and they never will. My thing is, pay attention to what you do, how you do it. There's enough out here information to help you do and create whatever it is that you want to create. But take it from some little dudes like us. We was just a small part of the game. A small part. And if we could play just a small part and be able to hang out in the fast lane and at least have something to show for what we done, then I'm always going to sit back and look at that and say, job well done. And we didn't get a chance to do half the damn dogs that we had lined up to do. You got all Gainesville shit. You had all the shit that Jamie Long shit did. You see what Most Wanted came over here and did. You had 38 Special. You had Mad come off with some shit that came up out of here. So I think we did pretty good. And wasn't trying to breed shit. Trying to keep matching. Whole lot of two-time, one-time winners. Goddamn it, maybe if we didn't have so many, we could have made a whole bunch of them two-time winners champions. But it took us too long to get back around to them. But then that's what happens when you get caught up in the game and you having fun. It ain't about the wins. It's about the competition. About who's going to be the next one to make that team. It ain't about the glory. Never thought it was ever going to be about the glory. It was always going to be about the win. Just being able to get out there in the fast lane amongst that kind of competition and win. Now give me some goddamn thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Muscles, muscles, muscles. Now give me some damn roses, roses. We need them damn roses. Show the love, man. Show the love. Hey, man, before I get out of here, hold on. I want to get this out of the way real quick. This channel in no way, shape, or form condones, support, nor participates in any illegal state, local, or federal laws that violate the Animal Welfare Act of 1976. This channel is strictly for historical, fictional, educational, and entertainment purposes only. Now, I'm hoping we didn't hurt nobody's feelings tonight, because we're not really like, it's not like we're talking about anybody, because we're not. We're just basically putting it out there. Hey, fellas, pay attention. Because tonight you finna go for a ride. And I hope y'all enjoy the ride. Big shout out to my man J-Rock coming through with a 10-piece showing that mad love. What up, fam? Appreciate the love, fam. Appreciate the love, J-Rock. Appreciate, I see you. Having big shout out to my main man, Having 3-6. What up, Having? Show the love. Appreciate that. MB for fire. Love it, baby. Anthro Bulldog Ali G. Appreciate you, fam. He said Molly B, Bolero, Termite on the list with Jocko, having Andy in the lineage. You right, man. And remember, we had some Molly B. We done had some Fat Bill shit up on the shit. We even got Termite shit. I mean, after all these years, when people say you can't, I mean, I'm trying to figure out how you're supposed to forget. You know, one of the things I noticed, can you ever forget to swim once you learn how to swim? Can you forget to ride a bike if you learn how to ride a bike? If you know how to breed American Pit Bull Terriers, You're going to always be able to breed American Pit Bull Terriers. And I'm just a believer in that. History has given us the opportunity to be able to stop and just look at the game. Remember, I just did a story, I think it was about 2 shows ago, when I think it was Windy City, when they got busted and they moved. And when he got them dogs and how he started over and had an illustrious career moving forward. And you think, all right, starting over is supposed to be hard. I don't think so. There's been men who have bred these lines of dogs for years and years and years, and they ain't falling up because they're masters at it. And there's nothing better than being able to master something that you know what you're doing. Become a master at it. You know what I'm saying? Time don't, it don't break you. If anything, it makes you better at whatever you want to do. Fresh. I see you, fam. Appreciate the love. Cannabis Cowboy. I see you, fam. Appreciate the love, man. Appreciate the love. Hey, man, I hope y'all get something out of this conversation. I hope it touches you. I hope it makes you more aware of doing what's necessary as far as regardless of what it is that you're trying to do. The thing is, try to be the best at what you're doing. Because performance is always going to matter when it comes to the American Pit Bull Terrier. Talk ain't never really got you too far. It might got you to the wall, but when you stepped over the wall, all the talking primarily it stopped any damn way. So there's certain things in this game that's just not going to change. Names going to change. Names of the dogs going to change. But as far as the bulldog and the bulldog man, hey, we're always going to be the same because it's still the dog make the papers. The man make the dog. Hey, if I fucked that up, y'all let me know because I've been fucked up for a long time if that ain't right. You know what I'm saying? So, fellas, let me see. Old Klaus tucked away too. I see you. Brandon, you said old Klaus tucked away too? Yep. Look. Y'all thought Mo be bullshitting when he going back there talking about getting that Klaus stabber. You know what I mean? Getting that Fitzwater Goldie. Got to have that lady sassy me. You remember, if anybody have followed this show, there's certain things that Mo gonna tell you. He always gonna tell you about them 4 people. Tudor, Klaus, Boudreaux, and Carver. Them his people. Now, man, the thing like that and ran that show the way he showed tonight, he been doing this for years. And I ain't talking about this no 3, 4, 5, and 6. I'm talking about decades. On top of decades. On top of decades of doing that shit. Understanding what he looking at. Understanding what they're trying to do. See, KP got his name over on a whole lot of shit. James Pope is just like James Powell. As long as we talk about Tornado, we always gonna have to go back and go in there and remind you about that man who got us in the Bulldog, Cheryl Powell. The man who made that brother-sister breed and they created Tornado. Yeah, I knew that guy real good. He's the one that got us in the Bulldogs. Yeah, I knew James Edwards. Oh yeah, we used to go out and hang out with him with James with the sheriff. Remember, all these stories, they're not made up. That's our life. We lived it. Had no idea back then it would turn out the way it turned out. But when I sit back and I look at the game and the people that's in it, hey, it's a different thing when you sit back and talk about it. You know, things are a little bit different to sit back and talk about it because they ain't nothing like when it was out there doing it. And to be able to have something to show for it, it's nothing better. So, fellas, until Tuesday, hopefully we'll be here Tuesday. You know, I just say hopefully because we got so much shit going on that I don't know what's going to happen as far as these next couple days. You know, we getting a weekend, so we really getting a break. But going into next week, we got a lot of shit fitting to happen. Either Mo going to be in the hospital or he ain't. Either I'm going to be in the hospital or I'm going to be spending the New Year's in the hospital. I'm trying not to. But under any, whatever happened, because I know Mo ain't going to come over here and fire these computers up. So I'm trying to take my computer to the hospital with me. But look, man, y'all enjoy this weekend. Y'all enjoy this holiday. Y'all keep doing what you need to be doing. Don't forget the APDR show in Fayetteville, North Carolina. They got tents up. They feeding everybody. My North Carolina people. I know Ross man's supposed to be showing up. My main man Tony Wade supposed to be showing up. You got DSK doing the judging. You got my man Jesse and the family holding down things. Look, show up, represent, stay safe, take a bunch of pictures so we can share them. So until Tuesday, man, hold on, in case Mo want to say something. Mo, you got anything you want to say before I get up out of here, man? Mo. Oh, shit. Now I got to leave Mo alone. He'll laugh and went to sleep. Sitting over here in the damn chair sleep. Well, here, I'm going to bang it out with y'all as I get out of here. Can y'all hear that? Let me see. Yeah. All right, fellas. Before I go into my little scratch to win thing, hey, man, if you put forth the effort in anything that you do in life, and I say put forth the effort, you know, you're going to get back out of how much you put in it. If you don't put the right shit in it, then don't look for nothing back out of it. But regardless of what you're doing when it comes to these dogs, and you have to love these dogs. You got to love this game. You got to love to do what we do. Of course, times has changed. But that don't mean you can't change with the time. It all depends on how much work you really invest into what you're trying to change, what you're trying to do. But regardless of how you do it, what you're doing, and when you're doing it, be the master of always. And I mean, be the master of always scratching the wind. Appreciate everybody for showing up. Don't forget to hit that like button. And guess what? I will see y'all Tuesday. Hey, anybody got any questions, anything? Y'all want to do some, email. It runs in that ticker across the bottom. Send a message over. I'll be glad to reach back out to you. Mo will be glad to reach out to you. And then again, here lately, you notice I don't put the little link up for anybody to come up and talk because I feel like nowadays I'm just feeling, there's enough people out there in the chat. If you want to come up and you want to holler and you got something to say that's on your chest, all you got to do is say, Twin, put up the link. I'll be glad to put up the link. I hate to put out the link and nobody uses it. So I'm going to give it, a little time to just let people, if you want to do something, you just ask and I will definitely oblige that. But that's one of the reasons why I stopped putting up the link. But we still have an open forum here. You see, everybody in that Shark Tank still got blue. So if you utilize what you got, your hardware, hey, we might have something going here. But until then, we're going to keep doing what we're doing. Y'all stay safe. And I will see you guys. No, just enjoy the weekend. And yeah, I will see you, hopefully, if God permits, on Tuesday. I'm out.